Especially as a kid, you can make mistakes that you can't come back from. They're pretty rare, right? There's not too many mistakes that are so grievous that you can't recover from them. Like this guy.
How would your life look different? How would your life be different? What would you have that you don't have right now? What would you be doing that you're not doing right now? What type of experience would you have that you're not experiencing right now?
Because it's decisions we make that chase that best version of us every second, every day, that every day alters the direction of the course of our lives. We've all made decisions that we regret. That decision took me off course. That decision put me further away of being the best life I could have, the best version of me.
Hey man, he made a mistake, failed a drug test, given a general discharge. That sucks. Guess what? He can do all kinds of good in the world. He can make up for that tenfold. He can start a business, make money, he can create a family, he can raise great kids, and there's so many things that he can make sure his kids understand that and know that and learn from it. And he can make sure some other neighborhood kids and high school kids and grade school kids, he can make such an impact on the world by learning from that mistake. So it's a harsh thing to say, like, hey, there's some things you can't. Now, what this guy can't recover from, and this is the fact that you have to face, and this is why I told it this way in the kid story. He didn't understand. When he made that mistake, he didn't understand that there's some mistakes you cannot recover from.
If you didn't live off of fear, but you lived off faith. Now, like I said before, this ain't stuff that I'm talking about. I've lived it, again, been there, done that. I'll never forget, I've not shared this before really in public, but it took me so long to get a degree. It wasn't about being dumb, all right? Listen to me, a lot of it was fear. You know, I told myself, for real, man, if I graduate with a 4-year degree, you know, I was afraid of success. You know, I was so used to living off of, you know, just getting by, just paying my bills, just getting by. That was my life, that I was afraid when I graduate, could I handle success? Imagine that. There are those of you who are watching me right now. You have a fear of success.
He can't be a pilot now. It's not going to happen. 0 chance of him being a military pilot. That's the way it works. So if I would have had the opportunity to tell him when he was 13 years old, hey, listen, bro, I get it. You're going to step outside the box sometimes, but there's some mistakes that you can make that you'll never be able to recover from. So think about what you're doing before you do them. You need to think about what you're doing before you do them. And if I would have had the opportunity to tell him that when he was 13 years old, he might have had a better decision-making process when he got older. That's why I left it that way for those kids, so that they recognize that there are some things that you do as a person, as a kid, that you cannot recover from. You cannot recover from. Now, that being said, when you take this and you put it in perspective as an adult, see, and as an adult, you have a much broader world to be a part of. And just because he's not going to be a pilot, a military pilot, by the way, just because he's not going to be a military pilot, there's all kinds of other opportunities out there. And you can explain that to an adult, but it's hard to explain that to a kid.
Some folks have a fear of failure. You have a fear of success. You are afraid. You are afraid to be successful. You've been broke so long that it's become a part of who you are. You've been in lack so long. You've been in poverty so long. You've not been able to go and splurge. You have not been able to go and enjoy life to its fullest. And you are afraid. You are afraid to be successful. You are afraid to succeed. Now there's another group. You're watching me. You're watching me. You are afraid. Afraid of what? You're afraid of failure. You're afraid of trying. You prefer to say, well, if I don't try, then I could always say that I could have done it if I wanted to do it. All right? And I challenge both groups. I challenge those of you who are afraid of success to give it a shot. All right? And I challenge those of you who are afraid of failure, just give it a shot. Just try. You will be shocked at what you can do. Now, I want you to live by faith. Are you hearing what I'm saying? I want you to live by faith, because when you live by faith, there are things that you can do. There are things that you will accomplish. All right.
Or what? It will negatively affect you. You can't wake up in the morning that the project is due hoping and wishing that John has done his part. No, you've got to be responsible, because it's going to affect your career too. Now, my approach to my better future very early on in my career was to just go through the day with my fingers crossed. And I used to say something like, I sure hope things will change for the better. Then here's what I found out. They're not going to change. Somebody says, well then, how will my life ever change? Answer, when you change. When you change, when you get better, it'll get better. If you change, it'll all change. Don't put it on someone else. Hope that someone else will change it for you. Take responsibility for yourself. Take personal responsibility.
And I want to remind you of something as I begin today, that you were born to do something great with your life, that you're extraordinary. Listen to me, that you're enough, that you're special, that you're favored, that you're chosen, regardless of where you come from, regardless of what you've been carrying with you. Some of you come in here today, and you know what? You've even thought of harming yourselves. Maybe you're even proud of the fact you haven't killed yourself. But every day, some of us are killing ourselves with the shame we carry from something we've done, some humiliation, some fear. We put this gun to our head every day that tells us we're not enough.
You can't change the circumstances or the seasons or the wind, but you can change your reading habits. You can change whether or not you go for the skills, burn the midnight oil, turn yourself around, multiply your value by 2, 3, 5, 10. That you've got charge of. That you have control of. You don't have control of the constellations, but you've got control over whether or not you go to night school, take adult classes, learn some new skills. You have control over that. And if you don't, that's your fault. You've got to take personal responsibility. You've got to be self-reliant. Nobody else can change your life, alter your ambitions, pave a golden road for you. But you can. It's up to you. Be responsible for yourself.
We're not strong enough, pretty enough, smart enough, favored enough, that we're doomed. And we carry these guns in our head every day that shame us, that take our confidence from us, that steal our joy. It's like a knife. You don't have to kill yourself because you do it every day. You do it over and over and over again, and there's a better way forward. You can put those things down in your life. You could decide today that you were born to do something great. You could set aside this weapon that you keep using against yourself to hold you back from your joy, from your passion, from your achievement, from all the goodies in life. You could decide today, just intentionally, to set this weapon down, whatever it is. Something from your childhood, a divorce, a business failure, something you're just not proud of that you've done. Set it down. Stop using it as a weapon against yourself and realize that happened for you and not to you. I believe in this concept of living blissfully dissatisfied, which means there's a way, most achievers have it backwards. They think, hey, if I enjoy my success, I'm going to lose all my drive.
Learn to reap the harvest without complaint. This is a sign of growing maturity. And here's where it comes from: taking full responsibility. Take full responsibility for everything you do. Be responsible to yourself. It's your crop. Whatever your paycheck is, take full responsibility. You say, well, it's my employer. No, it's not your employer. You can become twice as valuable, 3 times as valuable,